Let me tell you something about powerful men. The top 1% of men don't rise to the top because they never face disrespect. They rise because they know exactly how to handle it. See, the average man reacts. The average man gets angry, loud, emotional. But the top 1%, they stay calm because a man who is truly powerful understands something important. Not every insult deserves a reaction. When someone disrespects you, the first thing you must control is your emotions. Weak men explode. Strong men observe. They watch, they listen. They understand the situation before they respond. Because real power is not in shouting, real power is in control. One of the biggest differences between average men and the top 1% of men is emotional control. When disrespect appears, most people react immediately. They get angry, they raise their voice, they try to prove their point, and they allow their emotions to take over the situation. In that moment, the argument becomes more important than the outcome. But the men who truly operate at the highest level understand something very powerful. The moment you lose control of your emotions, you lose control of the situation. That is why emotionally disciplined men never rush to react when they feel disrespected. When a man has emotional control, he does something that most people find difficult. He pauses. Instead of reacting instantly, he observes what is happening around him. He listens carefully, studies the tone, the intention, and the environment. He understands that not every disrespectful comment deserves a reaction. Some people provoke others simply to create chaos, to gain attention, or to pull someone down to their level. A man who understands this refuses to fall into that trap. He knows that reacting emotionally often gives the other person exactly what they want. Calmness in difficult moments is a form of strength that many people underestimate. When a man stays calm while others expect him to explode, it sends a powerful message. It shows that he is in control of himself, and a man who controls himself cannot easily be controlled by anyone else. People may try to test him, push his buttons, or challenge his authority, but his ability to remain steady makes those attempts powerless. Instead of turning a moment of disrespect into a loud conflict, he turns it into an opportunity to show his maturity and discipline. Emotional control also protects a man from making decisions he might later regret. Many conflicts in life grow bigger simply because someone reacted too quickly in a moment of anger. Words spoken in frustration can damage relationships, reputations, and opportunities. The top 1% of men understand that their reputation is one of their most valuable assets. Because of that, they guard their reactions carefully. They know that true strength is not about who can shout the loudest, but about who can remain composed when others lose control. Another powerful advantage of emotional discipline is clarity. When emotions are high, judgment becomes cloudy. People say things they do not mean and make choices that do not serve them. But when a man keeps his emotions steady, his mind stays clear. He can see the situation for what it truly is rather than what it feels like in the moment. This allows him to choose the best response instead of the fastest reaction. Sometimes that response is silence. Sometimes it is a calm statement that sets a boundary. And sometimes it is simply walking away with dignity. There is also a psychological power in calm confidence. When someone tries to provoke a reaction and receives none, it often unsettles them. They expected anger, but instead they face composure. That composure shifts the balance of power in the room. Suddenly, the person who tried to disrespect feels small, while the man who remained calm appears strong, controlled, and unshakable. Over time, people learn that provoking such a man does not work, and they begin to treat him with a different level of respect. Ultimately, emotional control is not about suppressing feelings or pretending disrespect does not exist. It is about mastering the ability to respond wisely rather than reacting impulsively. The top 1% of men understand that their energy is too valuable to waste on unnecessary conflict. They protect their peace, guard their reputation, and move through life with quiet confidence. By staying calm, observing carefully, and responding with intention, they turn moments of potential conflict into demonstrations of strength, maturity, and true leadership. One of the most powerful traits of men who operate at a high level is their ability to set strong boundaries. Boundaries are not about controlling other people. They are about clearly defining what behavior you will and will not accept in your life. A man who respects himself understands that allowing repeated disrespect slowly destroys his confidence, his peace of mind, and the way others treat him. That is why high-value men never tolerate patterns of disrespect. They recognize it early, address it calmly, and make it clear that certain lines cannot be crossed. Many people confuse kindness with weakness. They believe that being patient, understanding, or forgiving means they must accept poor treatment from others. But strong men understand that true kindness includes self-respect. They can be calm, polite, and respectful while still protecting their dignity. When someone crosses a line, they do not explode with anger or create unnecessary drama. Instead, they communicate clearly and directly. Sometimes it is as simple as saying that a certain behavior is not acceptable to them. That calm clarity sends a powerful signal that they take their standards seriously. The key difference between average men and high-value men is consistency. Anyone can speak about boundaries, but powerful men enforce them through their actions. If someone continues to disrespect them after being warned, they do not keep arguing or repeating themselves endlessly. They simply change their level of access. They reduce communication, limit interaction, or remove themselves from the situation entirely. In doing so, they demonstrate that respect is not negotiable in their life. Distance is one of the strongest tools a man can use when dealing with disrespectful behavior. When people realize that their actions lead to losing access to someone valuable, it forces them to reflect on their behavior. High-value men understand that not every battle must be fought through confrontation. Sometimes the most powerful message is silence combined with absence. When you remove your time and energy from people who fail to respect you, you protect your peace and send a clear message about your standards. Another reason boundaries command respect is that they create predictability in how others experience you. When people know that certain behavior will not be tolerated, they adjust their actions accordingly. Over time, this builds a reputation. People begin to understand that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated, mocked, or disrespected. Your calm but firm approach teaches others how to treat you. Respect often follows the standards you consistently uphold. Strong boundaries also help a man protect his emotional and mental energy. Life is already filled with challenges, responsibilities, and goals that require focus. If a man constantly allows negative people to drain his energy, he will have little strength left to pursue his ambitions. High-value men recognize that their energy is one of their most valuable resources. They choose carefully where they invest it and who they allow into their inner circle. People who support their growth and show respect are welcomed, while those who bring constant negativity are gradually kept at a distance. It is important to understand that setting boundaries does not mean becoming cold, arrogant, or hostile. In fact, the most respected men often communicate their boundaries in the calmest way possible. They speak with confidence, maintain their composure, and avoid unnecessary aggression. Their tone remains steady, but their message is clear. This balance of calmness and firmness creates an aura of authority that others naturally recognize. Over time, these consistent actions shape how the world responds to a man. People begin to treat him with greater care because they understand that disrespect has consequences. Not loud consequences, not dramatic consequences, but quiet and firm ones. And in many cases, that quiet firmness earns far more respect than anger ever could. When a man establishes strong boundaries and stands by them, he protects his dignity, strengthens his character, and builds a life surrounded by people who value and respect him. In the end, boundaries are not walls meant to isolate us from others. They are standards that ensure the relationships we keep are built on mutual respect and understanding. One of the greatest signs of a powerful man is his ability to choose self-respect over ego battles. Many conflicts in life are not really about truth, justice, or growth. They are about ego. Someone says something disrespectful, someone feels challenged, and suddenly two people are locked in a battle to prove who is right, who is stronger, or who deserves the last word. Average men fall into this trap all the time. They feel the need to defend their pride in every situation, even when the argument brings no real value to their lives. But men who operate at a higher level understand that constantly proving yourself is a sign of insecurity, not strength. A confident man does not feel the need to win every argument or respond to every criticism. He understands that people will always have opinions, judgments, and negative comments. Trying to correct every person who misunderstands you is a never-ending battle. Instead of wasting his energy on pointless debates, He focuses on what truly matters in his life. His goals, his purpose, and his growth are far more important than satisfying his ego in a temporary argument. One of the reasons powerful men avoid ego battles is because they value their time. Time is one of the most limited and valuable resources any person has. Every moment spent arguing with someone who has no intention of understanding you is a moment taken away from building something meaningful. High-value men recognize this clearly. They refuse to let small conflicts distract them from the bigger picture. While others are busy fighting over pride and personal validation, they are busy improving themselves and moving closer to their goals. Walking away from unnecessary drama requires discipline and emotional maturity. In many situations, the ego pushes a man to stay and fight. The ego whispers that leaving the conversation means losing or appearing weak, but true strength often looks very different from what people expect. Sometimes strength means staying calm when others become aggressive. Sometimes strength means refusing to engage in childish arguments. And sometimes the strongest move a man can make is simply walking away with dignity. There is also a powerful psychological effect when a man refuses to engage in ego battles. When someone expects a reaction and receives calm silence instead, it shifts the entire dynamic. The person who tried to provoke a conflict suddenly realizes that their words no longer have power. Instead of gaining control of the situation, they lose it. Meanwhile, the man who remained composed maintains his respect and authority. People around him notice that he does not allow his emotions or his ego to control his behavior. Protecting dignity is another important reason powerful men avoid unnecessary arguments. Words spoken in anger can damage relationships and reputations. A single emotional reaction can undo years of respect and trust. High-value men understand that their character is always being observed, even in small moments. By choosing self-respect over ego, they maintain a level of composure that others admire and remember. Another truth is that many arguments are simply unwinnable. Some people are not interested in truth or resolution. They only want to dominate the conversation or feel superior. Engaging with such people leads nowhere. Powerful men recognize this quickly. Instead of trying to convince someone who refuses to listen, they redirect their attention to people and environments where their energy is valued. This choice protects their peace of mind and keeps them focused on progress rather than negativity. Living with self-respect also means understanding your own worth. When a man truly knows his value, he does not feel threatened by every disagreement or criticism. He knows who he is and what he stands for. Because of that inner confidence, he does not need constant validation from others. His sense of identity comes from his actions, his discipline, and the way he carries himself through life. One of the clearest differences between average men and the top 1% is where they place their focus. Most people spend a large portion of their time caught up in drama, negativity, and distractions that bring no real value to their lives. They argue about small issues, worry about what others think of them, and allow unnecessary conflicts to consume their energy. But the men who truly rise to the top think differently. Their attention is fixed on something bigger than temporary emotions or daily drama. They are focused on purpose. A man with purpose understands that his time on this earth is limited. Because of that, he becomes very careful about where he invests his energy. Every day is an opportunity to grow, build, and move closer to the life he wants to create. When a man has a clear mission in life, many distractions automatically lose their power over him. Gossip, criticism, and petty arguments begin to look small compared to the goals he is working toward. Instead of reacting to every negative situation around him, he stays focused on the path that leads to progress. The top 1% of men recognize that negativity is everywhere. There will always be people who doubt them, criticize them, or try to distract them from their journey. Some people may even feel uncomfortable when they see someone focused and determined because it reminds them of their own lack of direction. But a mission-driven man does not allow these voices to control his decisions. He listens when there is something valuable to learn, but he refuses to give his attention to negativity that serves no purpose. Staying focused on purpose requires discipline. It is easy to lose direction when emotions run high or when others try to pull you into unnecessary conflict. But powerful men train themselves to return their attention to what truly matters. When something threatens to distract them, they ask themselves a simple question. Does this help me move closer to my goals? If the answer is no, they move on without hesitation. This habit keeps their mind clear and their energy directed toward growth. Another powerful result of living with purpose is the quiet respect it creates. People naturally notice individuals who remain focused while everyone else is distracted. A man who spends his time improving himself, working toward meaningful goals, and building something valuable stands out in any environment. He does not need to constantly talk about his ambitions or prove his importance to others. His actions speak louder than words. Over time, people begin to recognize the discipline and determination behind his lifestyle. Purpose also gives a man strength during difficult moments. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. Men without direction often feel lost when these moments arrive because they have nothing guiding them forward. But a man who knows his mission sees obstacles differently. Instead of giving up or getting trapped in frustration, he treats every challenge as part of the journey. His focus on long-term success allows him to remain steady even when situations become difficult. Ignoring drama does not mean pretending problems do not exist. It simply means refusing to give unnecessary problems more attention than they deserve. The top 1% understand that constant emotional reactions only slow down progress. By maintaining control over their focus, they protect the mental clarity needed to continue moving forward. They choose productivity over distraction and growth over temporary satisfaction. Living with purpose also shapes the legacy a man leaves behind. Every decision, every action, and every habit contributes to the story of his life. Men who chase drama often leave behind a trail of broken relationships and wasted opportunities. But men who stay committed to their mission create something meaningful. They build careers, support families, inspire others, and leave a positive impact on the world around them. In the end, the way a man handles disrespect says a lot about the kind of man he truly is. The top 1% of men understand that respect is not something you demand loudly. It is something you earn through discipline, self-control, and the way you carry yourself every single day. Instead of reacting with anger or letting their ego control them, they remain calm, protect their dignity, and focus on what truly matters in life. They understand the power of emotional control, knowing that staying calm in difficult moments gives them the upper hand. They set strong boundaries, making it clear that repeated disrespect has no place in their lives. They refuse to waste time fighting pointless ego battles, choosing self-respect over temporary victories and arguments. Most importantly, they stay focused on their purpose, refusing to let drama, negativity, or distractions pull them away from their mission. This mindset is what separates ordinary men from those who command real respect. When a man learns to control his emotions, protect his standards, and stay committed to his goals, people begin to see him differently. His confidence becomes quieter but stronger, and his presence begins to carry weight without him saying much at all. Respect, in the end, is not about force or intimidation. It grows naturally from the discipline, integrity, and focus a man shows in every situation. And when you live by these principles long enough, something powerful happens. The same people who once tested you or doubted you begin to recognize the strength in your character. That is how the top 1% of men handle disrespect. Not with noise, anger, or ego, but with calm strength, clear standards, and an unshakable focus on becoming the best version of themselves.